Welcome to the deep dive. We take stacks of information, pull out the key insights, and basically give you a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed. Today, we're tackling something that honestly feels like it's straight out of a thriller movie, but it's very real, rooted in actual legal cases, therapy challenges. We're talking about criminal hypnosis. Often denied, but undeniably powerful.
Indeed. And for this deep dive, we've gathered some really compelling stuff. Academic papers, legal summaries, even personal interviews. They all explore these hidden dangers, What happens when hypnosis, which can be a powerful tool, falls into what our sources call unworthy hands.
So our goal today, our mission, is to really understand abusive hypnosis. Why is it so hard to deal with legally? How do you even recognize the impact? And maybe most importantly, what paths are there for healing? Okay, let's get into it. For, centuries really, there's been this dominant idea. People call it the dogma of moral integrity. The basic belief is you can't be hypnotized to do something that truly goes against your core values. It's a nice thought, isn't it? Comforting.
It is comforting, absolutely. But the evidence we've looked at, it paints a very different picture, a stark contrast, actually. It strongly suggests that a really susceptible person, a somnambulist, they call them, someone who goes very deep.
Right, like sleepwalking, but responsive.
Exactly. They might actually commit serious crimes under hypnotic suggestion.
Yeah.
And the chilling part, they might have zero memory of it later. None.
Okay, this is where it gets really, really unnerving. We found accounts, like actual experiments, even back in the early 1900s. August Forel, for instance. He'd tell these somnambulists to kill someone using, harmless props like chalk or a blank pistol.
And they did it.
They carried out the attack. Then later, Milton V. Klein, he took it further. He got a lawyer under deep hypnosis to expose himself in public.
Wow.
And get this, it wasn't even direct commands. He used subtle, indirect suggestions. He basically built a false reality in the guy's head.
That's fascinating and terrifying, because it's not just about following orders, is it?
No.
These experiments, they fundamentally question free will in those deep hypnotic states. They show a hypnotist can mobilize harmful, destructive forces within someone. It's like they anesthetize the superego.
That conscience.
Right, that inner voice telling you right from wrong. It gets silenced, allowing things to surface that normally wouldn't. It suggests a much deeper vulnerability than we usually admit.
Okay, so if this is possible, if it's been shown experimentally even, why isn't it common knowledge? Why the pushback? Our sources point towards, significant resistance, systemic barriers keeping these cases quiet.
Yeah, and that's a huge question. Why do professionals, people who should know better, often deny this or minimize it? We saw figures like Dr. Mays, a lawyer, psychologist, and hypnotist. Quite the background.
You'd think he'd know.
Right, but he claimed ignorance of unethical cases or, cited confidentiality when pressed. It feels like more than just caution.
And it seems to go deeper. Lots of big names in hypnosis research. Erickson, Barber, Sarbin, Spanos, or Ehrman, frequently cited authorities. But our sources argue their public statements were very different from what they might have known privately. They pushed ideas like trance isn't real, or subjects are just role-playing.
Basically downplaying the power.
Exactly, making it seem less dangerous.
And the effect of this hypnotism lobby, as the sources call it, has been massive. Take T.X. Barber. His work, sometimes funded by the CIA, the Navy.
Really?
Yeah. It really pushed the idea that hypnosis was just, harmless stage stuff, charlatanry. And this disinformation, intentional or not, it's really skewed the legal system. It protects the hypnotists, makes it incredibly hard for victims.
So trying to bring a legal challenge is often a losing battle.
Pretty much. Cases often get settled out of court.
Which means no public record.
Exactly. No data for researchers, no follow-up. Think about that Boise hypnotist story, the one allegedly seducing women for years. If those cases settled privately, that explains why someone like Dr. Mays could say he knows of no tort actions, because they never reached a public trial.
It creates a vacuum. The silence allows it to continue. Okay, let's look at some specific examples then. Cases from the sources that really show the chilling possibilities here. Sexual abuse, financial ruin, even murder.
Yeah, the spectrum is disturbing. Consider Spurgeon Young back in 1897, just 17 years old, a known somnambulist. These irresponsible youthful operators kept putting him in deep trances. They'd make him catatonic, like rigid.
Oh, good.
Bridge his body between chairs and then stomp on him for fun.
That's horrific.
He eventually died. Diabetic coma, kidney failure. The coroner's jury actually concluded it was caused by hypnotic practices, But guess what?
No charges.
No one was charged. Shows how little understanding or protection there was.
Unbelievable. Then there's the Austin v. Barker case, 1901. David Barker hypnotizes Edith, causes amnesia, fathers her child, multiple trials. But in the end, Barker declared innocent. The courts basically said hypnotic manipulation was science and theory not generally known, or just hearsay.
Dismissing it entirely. Just couldn't grasp it.
Right. The legal system was way behind the curve.
And then the Sala affair, Sweden, 1936. This one's chilling because it was so organized. A hypnotist called Thief. He didn't just target individuals. He used his skills to build and control a whole gang.
A gang.
Yeah. Induced underage girls into prostitution. Ordered male members to commit robberies, even murders. He apparently caused a friend's suicide, was involved in another gang member's death via poison.
Good grief, what happened to him?
Judged guilty, but insane. Which maybe reflects how hard it is to sentence someone for crimes committed through this kind of influence.
And it's not just lone criminals. Even the state seems to have used these tactics. There's a Supreme Court case, People v. Lara.
I guess.
A psychiatrist, described as having considerable knowledge of hypnosis, used a skillful disguised induction on a suspect who was exhausted.
To get a confession.
Right. It was eventually ruled inadmissible, which is rare, but it shows the potential for misuse by authorities.
And then there's that awful case of the physician, a hypnotherapist.
The one with his wife.
Yeah. He suggested to her, under hypnosis, that swallowing a bunch of pills would cure her headache, a lethal dose. And she did it. She died.
Whether it's for state power or personal gain, it just highlights this terrifying unchecked potential. So given all this secrecy, this denial, how can you listening possibly know if someone or even yourself has been a victim? The signs must be subtle.
They often are. Very subtle. Victims might talk about missing time, gaps in their memory they just can't explain, or doing things that feel totally out of character. Sometimes they might even recognize a hallucination as a hallucination. They know it's not real, but they still see it.
Like Nora O. in the sources.
Exactly. Her uncle used hypnosis for sexual abuse.
Yeah.
She said he made me see things, I still see them, like a monster animal on the stairs. Those implanted visuals are a key sign.
That's a powerful, awful image. What else? Anything about how they react to hypnosis itself?
Yeah, that's interesting too. Some victims become extremely susceptible, like unnaturally easy to hypnotize again. Others are the opposite. They seem totally sealed off, incredibly resistant, maybe due to some prior hypnotic instruction to resist.
Like a built-in defense.
Or a trap. And then there's piggybacking. A new hypnotist might accidentally use the same cue word or trigger as the abuser.
And that unlocks something.
Exactly. It can cause a sudden deepening of trance or bring repressed memories flooding back unexpectedly. Other signs to look for. Deep social isolation, a feeling of just powerlessness, especially around the abuser, emotional numbness, or even a noticeable delay in speech when asked about their hypnotic past, like the brain is struggling to access or articulate it.
The body remembers too, right? You mentioned the woman editing the book.
Yes, the somatic impact. She had a heart attack editing a book on this very topic. The stress of confronting repressed trauma can be immense. And dreams, don't discount dreams. Recurring nightmares, often symbolic, can be the subconscious trying to process the abuse. Like in the Manchurian Candidate idea.
Okay, so identifying it is one thing, a huge thing. But breaking free, that sounds like the real mountain to climb. How does healing even start?
Well, the biggest hurdle is often that suggested amnesia, the command to forget. In theory, the simplest fix would be for the abuser to just undo it, remove the suggestions.
That doesn't happen.
Our sources are pretty clear. Total cooperation from a criminal hypnotist has never happened.
Sure.
So no, the victim has to find their own path.
Where does that path begin?
Telling someone. That's the first, most crucial step, breaking the silence.
Even if there's programming against telling.
Just especially in finding just one person you trust who believes you. Building that rapport can start to dismantle the amnesia. It creates an alliance against the secrecy.
And therapy, standard therapy might not cut it.
Often, no. Conventional therapy, with its time limits, cost constraints. It might not be enough for this level of deep manipulation. You need extraordinary approaches. Imagery work is vital. The right brain, the visual emotional side, often holds memories the verbal left brain can't access because of censorship.
So using images to bypass the blocks.
Exactly. Techniques like image generating, inspecting, manipulating, helping the person visualize and then transform those scary symbols from the abuse. It helps resolve conflicts words can't touch.
You also mentioned parts therapy. What's that about?
It's fascinating. It sees the personality as having different parts, maybe a scared child part, a protective part, etc. Often these parts are in conflict, rooted in forgotten trauma.
Okay.
The therapist helps these parts communicate, understand each other's function, not judge them. The goal is to rechannel their energy constructively, bring harmony inside.
Integrate the fragments.
Precisely. Ultimately, healing is this multi-layered process. You need to strengthen the ego, the sense of self, recover feelings and memories using things like ideomotor
The
responses.
finger signals.
Right. Unconscious movements, giving answers the conscious mind blocks, or even careful rehypnotization using that state-dependent memory effect.
Going back into the state to access the memories formed there.
Exactly. And then the really hard work, integration, accepting the dual reality. They did this to me, acknowledging the abuser. But also, perhaps more profoundly, I did it to me, recognizing one's own manipulated participation, dealing with the anger, owning choices, even forced ones, undoing that betrayed consent. It leads to a stronger, wiser self.
Wow. What an eye-opening and frankly quite disturbing deep dive. We've seen how hypnosis, this powerful tool, can be weaponized, leading to trauma that's often completely invisible, and the denial, the legal gaps, the psychological walls. It makes helping victims incredibly difficult.
It does. But we've also seen the flip side, the amazing resilience people have, the real potential for healing. It takes immense courage, breaking silence, finding allies, using these specialized therapies, accessing memories indirectly through imagery, ideomotor work, parts therapy. It is possible.
Yeah. This whole exploration leaves us with a pretty provocative question, I think. If this kind of insidious manipulation can exist, hidden right under our noses, and if powerful people, even institutions, can suppress the truth for so long, what else might we be missing? What other critical truths might society be collectively denying? And how do we even start to ensure real informed consent, protect people from this kind of covert influence, especially as psychological tools get more and more sophisticated? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's given you some powerful knowledge and maybe encourages a deeper, more critical look at the information and the hidden influences all around you.